Hey, good afternoon, everybody. You got Tim and Doug from One for All Social again. And Doug and I, between the two of us, work with probably more of our clients than anybody, more of the people that use our social media system than anybody. And we get a lot of the same questions. So, me as the tech guy and Doug as the operations guy, we wanted to kind of address some of those questions. And one of them is, how do you get heard on social media, which is one topic. And the other one is, what makes a good social media account? What makes that account really pop? How do what does the content need to look like? You get that one all the time, right?
All the time, and the biggest thing for everybody that's out there is they want to get their message out. They basically they're looking for whatever it is to sell their product to get more subscribers to their channel, but they're always in advertising mode of some fashion, one or the other. But they all make the same common mistake, wouldn't you say, Tim?
Yeah, they all do. It's like every message is, hey, here's buy this product, do this, do that, send money, and it's always the same. And it's social media for a reason. People don't want to just be told, hey, buy something. They want to hear that personal story, like what made this company real? Why is that movie important? Why do I want to go see it? What's in it for me, right? How's this thing going to change my life? Not just, oh, you should buy it because it's the right thing to do. Right? What do you care? Some people do, but it really, how is it going to affect my life and those around me? And especially as a company, one of the things that I think is important if you're a company, a nonprofit, church organization, anything, it doesn't matter, is the personal side to the story. It's, hey, here's somebody who's used the product and here's what they got out of it. Here's somebody who attends the church and here's what they get out of it. Or here's the people that work here and here's, sort of their story or why did this company come into being? So I get asked that all the time. It's like, why did you want to start this company? For what purpose? There's all these other social media companies out there. Why this one? Well, and that's one answer for me. It might be a different answer for the investment guys. It might be a different answer for Doug. But I think it's kind of that why we do things are just as important as what we do. And like if you take one of the organizations we work with that was trying to raise attention to waiting rooms in hospitals for children's hospitals. So as a parent, unfortunately, a couple times I've been in the hospital with my kids. Everybody's healthy, everybody's fine. It's not any big deal. But I spent a lot of time in waiting rooms. And if you've been in hospital waiting rooms, they're always old. And if you're an adult, that's one thing. But when you got a kid you have to entertain, that's a whole different world, right? They be patient only works so long. Right? And yes, we want to entertain our kids, but if you're in a children's hospital and the waiting room is 10-year-old sticky books and maybe a functional television and one or two Tonka toys that have two-thirds of the pieces missing, it's a challenge, right? It's a real challenge, especially if you're waiting half a day. And this group was out there trying to raise money, and every message I saw on their platform was like, "Hey, donate, donate, donate." Well, let's get into why. What's it do, right? Where's the money go? What lives has it changed? How has it made things better over at this children's hospital versus that children's hospital? And why is it important to do this in all of them? And I think that kind of messaging comes across much better. And you can apply that to almost any industry. It's like, you know, energy drinks or coffee or restaurants, one versus another. Hey, we chose to start it because there was no restaurant that fulfilled Taco Tuesday quite the way we wanted to do Baja Shrimp tacos, right? And I say that because I missed Taco Tuesday yesterday and getting my taco fix, but I'll get it next week. So those are the sorts of things that I think really kind of need to come out on social media, and I think will attract more of a following than if you just kind of go out there sales pitchy all the time.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before in the past. This is social media, be social. So not just your advertising method, whether that's donate, 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 whether that's, hey, check out this movie. Hey, it's Taco Tuesday, come buy tacos. Be social, get out there, include the people on your channel with stories of your business, your organization, whatever it is. For example, in that hospital scenario, show, with permission, of course, show some of the different success stories or show the current state of what those toys are in and where they're going, where the funds will go to. Share some of the worker stories. Uh, for my wife's business, it was sharing a lot of stories of successful students that went through her music studio. It's and not just, hey, sign up today for lessons. So you have to mix up your messages, but be social and include people. People love being a part of a group, so include them in your group. Tell them your stories. Get out. And yes, you still
So
want to pepper out those advertising messages, but not that have that don't have that be the only message that you send out on social media. You'll get canceled. You'll get clicked, unfollowed.
Nobody will pay attention, right? So like with the music studios example, like my kids all take piano lessons, and two of them are now in orchestra at their schools. And when I was a kid, I took piano lessons, and my parents kind of forced me to. But when I had kids of my own, I looked at it and I was like, okay, kids who take piano lessons are better at math. They're better at certain types of reasoning because somehow that structure excites parts of the brain that kind of help that development process
Mhm.
go along. And believe it or not, it actually does help in some cases with his kids help organize their thoughts because you have to kind of be logical to keyword. Whole different story. But one of the other things that I think is vital, and a lot of people miss this, is we early on we were working with, and we still do work with a retired NFL player. I'm not going to teams or names are not going to come into the conversation, but one of the things I had to kind of tell him quite often was that you've got these huge accounts and you post stuff, but you never engage with anybody, right? So you get all these people leave comments, and I've never once seen you go on there and actually respond to a comment. That's important, right? I don't care if you're Keanu Reeves or if you're, whoever. If you don't ever respond to people, yeah, they're going to follow you and they're going to look at you, and that's great. But if you want to see your engagement really skyrocket and your follower count massively increase, because I've seen it a time or two with some larger accounts that we've worked with, that once you start to engage with your following more instead of just throw things at them, they're following, like even the retired NFL player, his grew quickly once he started responding to people. So he went from big to even bigger when people saw him as interactive. And that's important because people want to know they can actually maybe get a response from their favorite player or their favorite movie star. And there's a couple of movie stars who are really good at this. And again, I don't want to get into it because it gets into weird political stances pretty fast, and I try to avoid that like the plague. But some of them love to just put things out there and then disappear, and others will actually engage with the fans online in some cases and answer questions. And those are the accounts that go from sort of 100,000, 200,000 followers up to millions, right? And it has a much better impact on their openings when the movie openings happen, because they have this much larger following, and the following actually sees them as a person, not just as an image up on the hill. So being social with people really does matter, and you don't have to answer every comment because some of my accounts are now larger. I've got 5 digits worth of followers on Twitter. The other day I posted something, and within minutes I had 15 comments on it. No way I'm going to be able to answer all. I think the end of the day there were like 280 of them. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to be answer all of them, but I can go through and look and answer some of them. And I think that sort of interaction, I think, is what draws people to certain accounts and makes those accounts even become bigger and more meaningful. And what happens over time is once your account has that engaged following and knows that you're real, you're not just a bot on the other end of something. When you do have a call to action like, hey, click this link and go check this out, you can get a much better response. It's not just that, hey, I have more followers now, but the followers you have actually kind of trust you to be their guide on what they could and might or might not get something out of.
You've made a
Uh,
connection with them by sharing who you are and what you're about.
yeah, it's not just
Interacting with them, engaging them.
yeah, it's not just like a TV commercial where it's like, do this because Jay Gordon Liddy told you to, or whoever's on the commercial. And it kind of is a more feels more like a friend recommending something than just some random stranger on the street. So I think if I could give anybody any advice, is remember that it is social media. It's not just a one-sided lecture. Even on LinkedIn, it is a social media that's more business oriented than the others, but it's meant to be interactive. It's not meant to be kind of one-way broadcast only. It's supposed to go both directions. And if anybody out listening to us ever took any of our advice, it would be just that. Remember that social media is called social media. Yes, there's a media aspect to it, but there's also a social aspect to it that's just as important as the media aspect. So, take that to account. Do what you will with it, but I have known that every account who has ever tried it that I've seen, it works.